And hello, hello, extraordinary encounters. Does your Black life matter? Here, Kass Thomas with the lovely Shubra. How are you, darling?
Very well, thank you, and welcome, Lorena.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleased to
Thank
have
you.
you here. Hi, Cass.
Hello, Lorena. Welcome. Lorena Apikiko, she is from living in Belgium, in Europe at
Yeah,
the moment,
yeah, yeah,
and Northern Europe, and originally from Gabon in Africa.
yeah, yeah. I'm from
And
Gabon.
yeah, and tell us where is Gabon? What is it? Tell us about
Oh,
your journey.
oh, Gabon is a little beautiful country with a green beach, sea, and a really rich country. So we have, okay, geographically, we can find Gabon in the central part of the Africa when we have equator. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep, the
And
equator.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we are in the central part of Africa, and it's a little bit country with a very beautiful space, places, riches. We have a lot of riches. Um, yeah, we have 80% of forest.
Wow,
Yeah.
Wow.
wow.
So it's
When
like
you
the
hear
second,
Africa, you don't
uh,
realize that. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have the sun all the year, and we have the forest for 80%. So we are the second breathing parts of the planet after Amazonia.
Wow.
What a
So it's just,
contribution.
yeah, it's just a wide, beautiful, wide countries. And population, we are not so much. We are almost 2 million people. That's all. So, and the country is bigger, is 8 times bigger than Belgium. So you can
Oh.
imagine the proportion of people and the space. So
Mm.
that's why we have also this wide part protected.
Mm.
That's Gabon.
Nice, nice.
That's Gabon.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
it's also like it's a bit cuddled by Africa, right? Because you have Africa shaped like this, and it's right there, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, nice picture. Yeah. That's why we are kind. Gabonese are kind, gentle, welcome. So warm people. Yeah. Maybe.
Well, if you represent that, I'm totally sure of that. So, what made you come to Europe?
Oh, I come in Europe after my secondary school degrees. I receive money from the government to come here, and they pay my studies. And yeah, and after that, I met my companion. So things change. Uh, I decided to stay and to create more because in Gabon and here I didn't have the same opportunities. That's also the second reason I stayed. I didn't have the same opportunities, and I say, okay, I will stay. I will maybe create something different and then bring it back to Gabon.
Yes, yes.
So
I just want to show this.
after that, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, on the equator.
Yeah. How cool is
Mm,
that? Right on the
yeah,
yeah.
just
Cool.
on it.
Yeah. And so
And
what has the journey been like being in I know you have three jewels in your life, more than three probably, but children also.
yeah, 3 children. Mm-hmm.
And
Uh,
they were born
mhm.
in Belgium.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All they are born in here. I came in Belgium in 2004, so it's 16 years now. And my eldest child is 9. So I spent 7 years before having my first baby, and then I finished my 2 degrees um, my studies, yeah, 2 degrees. And after I work a little bit and I have my first child. Um, you asked me how was the journey?
Yeah. How has it been? How is it going? It's still a journey, right?
Yeah, it's still a journey. Yeah. I can talk about my first moment in Belgium when I came. I remember of this moment like yesterday. I never imagined that it can be cold in one country like in Europe. I can in October and we have autumn with season and I start to feel cold. I say, oh my God, I'm so cold. And I imagine in my mind that there is somewhere in Belgium I can find this warm weather and maybe stay there, that place in that place and and I see the news on TV and I can see all the Europe are these kind of temperatures and I say, oh my God, I saw it in Gabon, but I didn't realize that is the reality of Europe. So you can imagine something, you can imagine Africa when you are here, you can imagine Africa. But then you come in, even though people say to you there is 40 degrees, you understand, but you don't realize. And then you can say, oh my God, it's really 40 degrees. And that's what's happened when I came. I feel cold and yeah, that's what
Yeah.
really strange.
Yeah, which is like 100 degrees in Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius. So you might have seen the 40 degrees also in Belgium, but it's Fahrenheit, so
No.
that's a bit cold. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
how is it for your children? I mean, are there many people from different cultures, and are there many people from Africa in Belgium?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we create little communities. I can see that each country create a little community in the foreign country. So I can meet Gabonese people like me, and we get in touch because we can share this, yeah, this culture together, and you can continue to keep this because when you stay abroad you can forget things and you really want to be in contact with your culture.
Yeah,
That's no issue. So we are part of many country communities because my companion is from Ivory Coast. So we have the community from Ivory Coast and from Gabon, and I also have friends from many countries, European, African, American. I have Brazilian friend here in Belgium, but most of the time we stay with that community for birthdays, for celebrations. Yeah. So yeah, it's really a mix of culture, of colors, of traditions, of food, of music. Yeah. So we stay in this atmosphere.
yeah. What made you choose Belgium? Was it like was Gabon colonized by Belgium, or I know
Yeah.
you speak French. Tu parles
Yeah, in
français.
Gabon we speak French. That's the official language. But after that, we have a lot of cultural tongue languages like Fan, Omiene, Bapunu, Eshira. So we have a lot of almost 40 languages,
30.
and yeah, 30.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but we have 9 main languages, and the others is just like little differences of sounds, but we have the main language.
That right. It's like
Okay.
Zulu in South Africa
Yeah.
after the abolition of apartheid, post-apartheid.
Mm.
That there were 12 official languages,
Oh.
and none of them were
My
Afrikaans, which would be, I
Uh-huh.
guess, the equivalent of French in Gabon. None of them were Afrikaans. So funny because most people were speaking Afrikaans. And
Mm-hmm.
so when after apartheid, none of them were Afrikaans of these 12 official languages.
Yeah.
And I remember I always wanted to go to South Africa, and I wasn't willing to go when the apartheid was going on. So
Yeah.
post apartheid, I went, and I've been several times, and in
Mm.
the bush rides, which in America we call the safari rides. And I was like on the bush rides, and I was like, wow, what's the difference between this and a safari ride? It's oh, that's what they call it in America. Oh, so I'm actually on safari. And it's so interesting, the terminology and the way, the
Yeah.
perspective, right, on something.
Yeah.
It's that safari, is something, something different, and it's actually the connection with the earth, with the animals. It's amazing,
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. That's
And so you chose Belgium because
no. Personally, I didn't choose Belgium. My mother wanted that I go to Senegal because I have uncles who lives there, and the government decided to give me this allowance or money to go to study, and the government decided to send me in Belgium.
wow,
I never imagined coming, but I remember when I was at my last years of study in Gabon, I always imagine myself in European countries, you know, and I don't know if that's helped me to have this not a coincidence, yeah, you know, yeah, I don't know if it was myself who br- how can I say it? It's like an energy. I have to put in words.
you can say it in French too. I can translate it.
Yeah, but also in French, I don't have the correct word, but I it
It's a
was
little bit
like
like bridging the gap, or pulling that energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. I pulling maybe this opportunity because I never imagined myself in Senegal for living, for holidays, okay, but for living, I was also thinking of um, European countries because of the kind of studies the offers, you know,
Mm,
because of this kind of, first of all, I wanted to be an architect. So that Europe was the first continent I imagined for these studies, you know. So I was always thinking of be an architect, study in university, brilliant and yeah, famous universities. And in Senegal, they offered most of the time studies for economics.
yeah.
So it didn't match with my dreams. And but when my mother say, "Oh, you will go to Senegal," I said, "Okay, I can take my first diploma there, and after go to Europe
I've
because
been
in
to
Africa,
Senegal. I was
yeah."
in Senegal when I was 14.
Oh,
So interesting because I grew up in Boston, which
mm,
is maybe in the US, there's 13%, I think, of the population is African American. It's probably increased now. But in Boston, I think it was even less. So it was so funny when I went to Senegal for the first time. It was like, wow, all of these brown people in
yeah,
one place. It was like it was so different. I remember still at
yeah.
14. Yeah.
My daughter said that the first time we went back to Gabon, she was 3 years, and she 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 she's born here in Belgium, and we decided to go to Gabon for the first time for her. And just when we go down from the plane and we we went outside the airport, she can see everyone is black. She said, "Mom, there is no white people here. Where is it? Where is them? Where is the, where is white people?" I say, "No, you are in Gabon. Here it's for most of the majority of the population is black." But she didn't realize when I said it in Belgium, we will go to Gabon, we will see everyone. It's everyone is black. she didn't realize what I said. And when she just went out of the airport, she said, "Mom, everyone is black." She was a little bit not afraid, but she didn't know what what will happen, you know. And she saw a white man in the airport. Say, "Oh, mom, there is a white man. Okay, it's okay." You see,
Isn't it
there is,
interesting that right,
yeah,
Shubhra? Isn't it interesting that
Yeah.
different
yeah,
Yeah.
perspective?
because she's
Yeah.
used to have white friends, white people
Right.
around, also black people, but she's used to see mixed, both,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But in Gabon, it's 90% is black, and then 10% is not.
Right.
So that was very funny. Yes.
And and how is it for the kids? Have they noticed in Belgium that seeing black kids is something different? I remember you told me
Yeah.
about your them
Yeah.
growing up, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's really a topic that is really important for me, is the children. Very, yeah, specifically black children or another continent or culture, but children who grow up in a different country from its roots. Yeah, does it make sense? So for me, black people here, when I remember my second child, my boy's 5 years boy, um, one day he came to school, and he came back to school and said, "Oh, my friend told me that I'm brown." It told me, "My friend said I'm black, but not, mom. I'm not black. I'm brown, like chocolate." I say yes. And for the first time, he discovered he's not as his friend. So it can start very in really a young age, really an early age. We can find this, the yeah, they acknowledge this difference, you know. And when we are with children, we try all the time to explain, you are different. That's why you are a gift. That's why you are precious. Because your difference mixed to the difference of another one, that creates something really unique. You never have this thing in another place, because the mix will be not the same, you know. Because first, my my daughter, for example, she came because in the class they're told about Africa. um I don't know how to say la famine.
Famine.
Famine,
People
okay.
starve. People not having food. Famine.
Food, yeah.
Yeah.
They talk about uh, a movie on TV was about famine, children who died because they haven't food, and most of the time it was in Africa. And my daughter say, "Mom, I'm afraid because I know I'm really sad because black children as me don't have to eat." And she felt guilty to be here and to eat and to don't live this reality, you know.
Mm.
And I explained to my daughter, you know, people people talk about what they can see on TV, but they don't know Africa. I can talk about what I can see on TV about India, but I don't know India. And I'm sure India, Africa can can be more beautiful, uh, yeah, more amazing than what I can see on TV. So don't trust all you see on TV. Don't trust all people will talk to you, because they never lived in Africa. When I saw news on United States, it's all about guns. you know, it's all time about guns, racism,
Guns,
black
guns, pistols.
guns, yeah, black anger, yeah, reaction, fighting. I don't know. If I just look at the news, I don't want to live there. But I know United States is not only that, is more that this thing.
It's so
So
it's so true. It's so important
yeah,
to travel. It
yeah,
really it's the best education.
yeah,
It really is the best education in the world to see
yeah,
different places.
yeah.
I remember I went to Israel,
Mm.
right? And I went to there's the church where the Jesus body is, and I heard when I was in the piazza there, I hear at noon the Muslims praying. And there's the synagogue there. And there are Muslims, Hebrews, Catholics, all in places having dinner together. Um, I get chills when I hear that. I never, ever knew that in Jerusalem. I never knew that, what kind of place Jerusalem was. You never see that on the news. You only see the conflict, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what Lorena was saying about that what you see on the TV may not be true. She told about Gabon. I never knew that, it's 80% forest. Africa, so we think about, or India, you have a certain image. And that's so very true. Like within the states also, like in India, there are certain states which have a certain image, and they say that they don't entertain people from other states. I have been there, like as many times I have been there, I have met people exactly the opposite, who were, willing to come forward and help, whereas they said that they totally shun foreigners. And I was stunned because I was refusing to buy the point of view that that's true. And what do we create? The filters we have is exactly what we create in our life. And that's very true. I mean, and traveling, like she took them to Gabon, till the time the children see with their own eyes what it is, they can never get that from a virtual reality. I mean, is my point of view. Experiential learning is the best learning, what you learn by your own experience. So yeah, so they're lucky to have you as a mom.
Thank you, Shubha. And also we try to mix, um, not just to stay in our community. We try to mix, yeah, to mix ourselves with everyone from every places. We have Brazilian, we have Chinese friends, we have, and also all the time when they came at home, my second one asked me, "Mom, she's a Chinese. How can I talk with a Chinese?" I say, "You can just talk French. It's enough." You know, because they imagine Chinese is another word. Maybe we don't have the same reality. I say, no, children are the same in China. They love candies, they love chocolate, they love to play, they love to laugh. So, yeah, that's why we create a bridge and then we can share, you know.
Right.
And we don't stay in our community and say, okay, Black people do that and we have to do that. Never. Open, 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 and choose. Experiment and choose. What have you liked?
Wow.
What would you choose? Maybe I can choose this for this moment and the other one not. That's your power.
It's so
No.
interesting if you migrate, right? Immigrants, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. Even refugees, right? That's one thing. In the
Mm,
United States, people who came over from Africa,
mm,
enslaved, that actually made it there.
Mm-hmm.
where their identity was taken away. So they had to, in a sort of hidden way, you know, if they found themselves in the same homes and fields with people from the same
Yeah.
country, the same
Yeah.
place, maintain a certain, you know what I mean, a connection with their roots as the
Yeah.
generations move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And their, you know, children, mom's children were sold, you know, which is there's a my dear friend, former brother-in-law, Phil Freelon, may he rest in peace, is architect, right?
Mm.
Amazing architect. He's no longer with us, but he actually was the African American Smithsonian director that's built in Washington D.C. now, but also this African diaspora um, museum in California. And I went there, and it's just lots of the history of the African diaspora in the United States. And there's one room that you go into, and it's a dark room, and it's just with slides and
Mm.
visuals of um, children and people being sold on the auction blocks.
Mm.
And I stayed in that room for like a half hour. It seemed like 3 days or 3 years, and I was just in tears. I perceived so much of the energy of
Yeah.
losing your children, them being sold, you know?
Yeah.
And I did want to mention that where we were talking about that, they had this little study of two boys in, I think it was in middle school. And one was a child of a white woman, one was a child of a black woman. And they both boys had the same very high grades, you know, very high scores.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the white woman spoke to her son was very different than the way the black woman spoke to her son. And, you know, oh, he's so great. He's so fabulous. He's so this, my son, the white woman. And the black woman, yes, but he needs to, you know, study more. He does this. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do this. And the study, the psychological study on that was this connection to not wanting to make your child sellable, not wanting people to know and acknowledge his greatness because he might be then taken away from you.
Oh,
So yeah, isn't that interesting? It was just
yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
when I think about that. So how much of the dialogues and the ways and treating have to do with some of our fears of the past or
Mm-hmm.
connections with the past. I
Mm-hmm.
get that in that African Diaspora Museum, which is awesome if you're ever in California. That I was perceiving all those energies, all those past, you know, reflections, and how much is that transferred from
Yeah.
generations, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not too long ago, because you know
No.
today is June. You know, when we're filming this, we'll be showing,
Yeah.
but it's the week of Juneteenth, the 7 days around that, three before, three after, and when, you know, not that long ago, you know, slavery was, you know, Freedom
Yeah.
Day,
Yeah.
um,
Right.
and so how much it's freedom inside of us, you know? Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
ourselves, we stay in our own jails from the past.
In our own jails from the past.
Yeah. Yeah. With anger, you know, feel feeling of non-justice, you know, that maintain ourselves in a jail. That's why children is really important to me, because when I talk to people in of my generation, I say, okay, we suffer in the past. Okay, that's really terrible. Okay, now what can we create? I don't want to stay the victim. I don't want to say to my daughter, you have to walk in the street and feel as a victim. I don't want to give it to her. I want to give to her something new. Because in the past, we were grow up with this um, education of you have to go higher, you have to go fight. You are always fighting to prove that you are capable, to prove you are a good person, to convince, to seduce others. Why? If you know who you are, you know where is your roots, you don't have to prove anything. You just have to be respected and respect others. Okay, you are this way. Okay, I can understand. That's cool. What can we create? Because one time my daughters tried to begin to ask me questions about history, slavery, white and black people, and the testimony was so terrible. She started crying. She said, "White people are so um, how can I say, méchant, you know,
Mean.
mean. They
Yeah.
are so mean with us. How can we stay with them at school in the same classroom? How can I be a friend with them even if I acknowledge what's happened in the past?" And I say, okay, that's the past. Okay, it's right to feel it because you identify yourself with this history, but you don't have to deal with this past. You don't have to resolve this problem today. You have to create a new past from a new today. Can you? Okay, you can use your roots. I'm African. I know all these feelings of uh yeah, all these feelings of Africa. Yeah, I stayed in Belgium for 16 years. I changed. I'm not the only that little Gabonese who came in 2004. I changed. That's true because I live with many countries. I have, for example, now I love Chinese food. I love Thailand food. I changed. I didn't stay in my posture as the Gabonese, and yeah, that is the mix. But my roots didn't change. And from this root, I can feel Africa. I can feel Gabon. I don't have to convince. I don't have to explain. I feel it. When
And
you say Apikilio, I say, what is Apikilio? Who is Apikilio? It's an energy. It's a memory. It's something. And then I can bring these two people when I interact with them. You know, when I'm with them, when I create something, I can create now what I chose to create. I don't want to give her all this past with all these tears, sadness, and say, okay, take it. You have to deal it. You have to resolve all this problem because you are black. You are the new generation, and you have to make justice. Where are you going? Where? We'll continue with anger, fight, fight, non-justice, and we will always stay victim. Where's our choice? For
I,
me, this way is not as open as I need to. Yeah, I need. So
I don't know if you never know this, but you have a hypnotic beauty. I find you so beautiful that I don't care what you're saying. I do care what you're saying, but it's just looking at you. You're just so beautiful. It's hypnotic.
thank
Um,
you.
and I would like to ask um, if you have any advice or awareness, right, for people of African descent who actually have no awareness of their roots.
Hmm.
People, African Americans.
African Americans.
Yeah. because you were saying that, and I totally get that. And what the roots that we invite people to, especially
Yeah,
right through the 7 Steps program, is the core of the child in you, the core of you, the magic of you, right?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
get that, maybe because I am American, right? Then I'm like, wait, I don't know what the roots are. So the root is actually in the core of you. But do you
yeah,
have any advice as an African
yeah.
woman of African origin who actually know where you came from and actually grew up there, and the richness of the
Mm.
culture is with you no matter where you go, and you're bringing that and sharing it with the world. For people who are in the America and the United States, um, what maybe awareness do you have about your Black Life Matters?
Hmm. My Black Lives Matter. I just, I don't know if I have really an advice, but I want to ask people to make this challenge of Black Lives Matter in their inner soul, inner space, their soul, their identity. For me, it's not enough to go outside on the street and say Black Lives Matter. If yes, it's good. And after what? We will come back in your house. You will continue to feel this position of victim, this anger, this limitation. You will feel yourself incapable, or you will continue to fight. That's the options. I want to ask people to travel, travel, and your infinite being know where are you from, know where is your root. It's like a memory. You just have to open this space, travel. For example, my daughter is born here in Belgium. She she never see Gabon before. But when we went to Gabon the first time. She was a little bit curious because things change. Is not the same. Yeah, everything is different. And at the end of the first day, she felt at home because her soul knew we are at home. It's your land, it's your roots, and it's just like your feet start to match with the land, and you feel it. And okay, uh, and you just feel it. So travel, travel, open the space of discover who you are, you know, and it's just like a child. When you adopt a child, there is a moment this child will fight to know who's my real parent, what is my identity. Maybe you gave it everything to him, but he need to know, he need to feel it, this fulfillment of say, okay, I am who I am that energy, I am that feeling, and that fulfill me, that nourish me, and it's okay. So travel, ask, be open, and go.
I love that analogy actually with the adopted children, because they
Yeah.
do search a lot. Shuba, you probably know some of that too. And sometimes what I find is they're looking for the why did you give me up? Why did you abandon me? Right? They're looking to pass them feeling guilty for not being loved on to
Mm,
the parents, or to get clarity about that, or
mm,
to
The
pull that up.
rejection,
Yeah.
mm.
And addiction, what did you say?
rejection,
Rejection.
to get over that rejection. And it is so interesting, when Lorena was talking, and it's 155 years, since the last state was freed. But how much of that is actually the superficial roots?
Mm-hmm.
The deep roots were never there.
Yeah.
They were like 200 years back. And if people are willing to really go and connect with their roots and really
Yeah.
find out where they belong to, probably
Mm.
they'll end up being proud of themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
they got trapped in those 200 years thinking that was their identity, but that never was. That's why it never, kind of gave that stability. Yes, they came to a new land, they adopted new culture,
Yeah.
or were forced to adopt, but they never came from that part. I mean, the true African roots. For the first time, when you were talking about roots, the word of roots, how deep it runs. I got that awareness that wow, it is only the superficial roots, even if it spans over 2 centuries. It seems like a big, long time, but what about the thousands of years from where they have actually come?
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank you. I mean, when you were talking about the roots, and when she was saying that, yeah, this is not fair. This is not like, where do you go from there? And
Mm.
what after that?
Mm-hmm.
You protest, you say you're a victim, but what after that?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
That's the question to ask.
Mm.
So yeah, thank you. Thank you for
And one of
not
the questions that
feeling.
comes up for me, right, is in America, for either out of choice or out of victimization obligation, there's lots of mixtures, The, the men, black men have the stereotype of having
Yeah.
large sexual parts.
Yeah.
you know so that's why people are a little bit jealous of that and envious of
Right.
that and desirous of that, and then
Mm.
use that recognition, right? And I'm wondering, the poor black guys that don't have large sexual parts, do they feel wrong? Right, but anyway, that's another story. But so using that recognition of a greatness
Yeah.
on the other side, right, and making them wrong. Oh, they're going to rape
Mm.
white women. Okay. Then there's the women, though, that have, and then they were also, the black men also, snuck in by women,
Mm.
also for sexual things. And there's the women that were used as sexual objects for their slave owners. So there's so much in the States of mixing, it's not everyone is 100% African.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Actually, yeah.
yeah. However, if you're slightly brown, you're still Black American and African American. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and it's a strong root, actually. It's a strong root that comes through. So connecting with your roots, what is that like for mulattoes, or for Octoons, which we call the 1/8, um, is knowing, because you are identified as Afro-American, then that is the imposed root, but it's also a strong base for people. What does that bring up for you guys?
Yeah. So like the banyan tree has secondary roots, but they're not the actual roots. The roots go very deep down. So we
Mm-hmm.
get confused by those roots which are hanging and which are very strong. I mean, some of them can be as thick as a trunk, but are they the real roots? If the real
Yeah.
roots were cut, would the tree even stand?
Yeah.
It may, but for how long?
Yeah. That's true.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So what are your real roots, and do
right.
they go beyond
Yeah.
cultural, or even geographical,
Mm.
color or language? What are your real roots, and what common roots do we have?
Yeah. Yeah.
How far are you willing to go beyond? What's the name of that tree?
Banyan tree. It's a banyan tree.
The banyan
Banyan.
tree.
Right.
Banyan tree.
Are you willing to go beyond the superficial roots of the banyan tree you are. That's my next book.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
I just one thing will pop just now. When we talk about roots, it's not because I'm black that my root will be in Africa. I can feel my energy in India, in
Right.
China, but I'm
Absolutely.
black.
Right. In this
So
lifetime.
yeah, in this life, this
In this
this
lifetime.
moment,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and you have to be aligned with this trap.
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult to have that beautiful skin poured somewhere else. 'Cause I mean, the smoothness and the richness of your color
Yeah, the
is just
color, the warmth.
delicious to me.
Yeah,
I just, it's so rich. It's so, I love it. Yeah,
yeah.
Right.
yeah,
I
yes.
read one day I read something about the black color in a spiritual magazine, and they told that when you have a dark uh, color, it's you are more ease to practice spiritual um, interconnection. You know,
Hmm. Wow.
I say, oh, okay.
Purity. There's a purity. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's not the layers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, I think I'm gonna go to the beach and get
it's
some sun
fair.
then, some more sun. This is my winter color. Wait till you see me. I'll show you my summer color.
You have to be darker
Yeah,
to fit
it gets a little bit red and then it gets a little, orange and then it's like, mwah, mwah, mwah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's there's a song, black is the color of my true love's hair. His
Mm,
face a warm and wondrous fair,
mm,
smoothest eyes and the strongest hands. I love the ground on where he stands. Ooh, black is the
mm.
color of my true love's hair.
Oh.
True love's hair. Now it's a bit gray, the color of the hair, but okay. Everything changes, you know what I'm saying? And sort of naturally
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Miss Miss Lorena, thank you so much. And
Thanks to you.
what I know you speak French
Mm.
and you must have one or two words left in Gabon. What can you teach us, share with us? A word, a kind word, a vibrationally amazing word in Gabonese. So what do you call the language? Well, you call them different because they're different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is different languages. My father is from Lambaréné, and she talked Omiene. And I just want to translate a famous sentence that I love you in Omiene. It's Metondawe. It's me. Tonda way. You. Metondawe.
Metunda way.
Metondawe.
Metunda way.
Ouais.
Way.
Ouais.
Metunda way.
Ouais.
Thank you.
And from
Make
my
it that
mother's,
way. I love that.
Metondawe.
Make
And from my
it that way.
mother's, we say Madzingwa. Madzingwa. It's like I feel you in my body, so my dingwa. That
Dingwa.
means
Nazingwa.
I love you. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Mm.
Madingwa.
Madzingwa. Yeah.
Dingwa.
Yeah. Wa, it's you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome.
And if you met a Gabonese everywhere, you just can say mbolo. That means hello, hi, and everyone is okay with that way of saying hello. You say mbolo.
Bolo. Gabon.
Mbolo.
Bolo.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I
Bolo, what
always
does it
love
mean?
to share something like that with people so that you actually
Oh,
have a connection immediately. Yeah.
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 And I remember I used to go into the Korean stores in New York, you know. Lived in New York for years. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
Mm.
You know, just boom, immediately. It was a whole
Yeah.
anti-Korean thing going on at some point in the 80s, I think, in New York.
Mm.
And just walk
Yeah.
in and someone's, just so you can feel their body relaxing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So now we've got some words in Gabon. If you ever meet anyone from Gabon, you know what to say to them.
Yes. I've written them down.
All right. All right.
Thank you
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us,
so
Ms.
much.
Lorena. And where can people
Yeah.
find you if they're looking for you and your magic?
Oh, on Facebook with Lorena Piquillo, my name. I will create my company for energetic cares and healing, and also it will be a structure to empower people and say, okay, you acknowledge something, what can you do with that? You have an awareness. It was like in French we say the déclic. I don't know in English how to say le déclic. You know, when you acknowledge something and you switch.
Yeah, the click. It's the same
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
the click.
Yeah.
So just I want to bring people from this part and that this the click and go further. So I create this company, and for the moment, it's Lorena Piquillo on Facebook. At
Okay.
I have already the name. It's Be Truly You.
Wow.
That will be the name of
Awesome.
that company. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Be truly you. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lorena. Thank you.
Thank you, Kass. Thank
Okay.
you, Subhra.
Yes.
Messi.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. En Gabonese, we say Akewa. Akewa.
Akewa. Akewa.
Akewa. Yeah.
Akewa. I
Akewa.
like that. Akewa.
Akewa.
Awesome. Akewa. Thank
Akewa
Akewa.
too.
you. Bye bye.
Thank
Merci,
you.
bye bye.